Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Isn't it interesting, isn't it kind of funny what an election cycle will do? There's before the election, during the election, and post-election. And of course, that's the telltale sign of a slimy politician. The perfect sign of utter dishonesty, total disingenuousness, if that's even a word on an issue. And of course, the king and the queen, or I guess the regime, that's most emblematic of this phenomenon are the Democrats and their leader, Sleepy Creepy Joe, and his henchwoman, cackling Kamala Harris. It's been 2 years of an out-of-control border crisis. They've done nothing. And now, all of a sudden, after the midterm elections, now, very conveniently, Joe admits that there's a problem and wants to do something about it. Well, kind of. The Brandon regime is doing what they normally do. A whole bunch of empty rhetoric, empty platitudes, taking credit for work that hasn't been done, patting themselves on the back, and proposing nonsense, garbage, non-solutions. I guess the topic of today's video is Joe Biden tackles the border crisis. Not really. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so Joe Biden starts his little press event. And let's just say he didn't really get off to a hot start, to say the least. You know, if you're gonna tackle an important issue, you probably shouldn't lie through your teeth and treat me like I'm a complete moron. Here's a glimpse of how Joe Biden started.
And the failure to pass and fund this comprehensive plan has increased the challenges that we're seeing at our southwest border. No one knows this better than the Vice President.
No one knows the border crisis better than Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris, who supposedly the borders are, who never even bothered visiting the central hub of the border crisis, and who did her little Northern Triangle public relations visits, then refused to even take phone calls involving the southern border from South American leaders. No one knows better than Vice President Kamala Harris. Give me a friggin' break. The only honest statement that Joe Biden made during this press conference was this.
Well, President Harris led this effort.
President Harris led this effort. Yeah, we know, that's kind of the friggin' problem. But he also went on to claim that Title 42 makes the problem at the border even worse.
In fact, the previous administration used a rule called Title 42 to deal with the pandemic, to rapidly expel people who crossed the border. It was designed to deal with the pandemic, but it's used as a means to expel people at the border. People turned away under Title 42, and they're not barred from trying to come back. They've been turned away. They go back. They try again. They try again. Well, you know, they can and they do try to re-enter the United States again and again, which makes the problem at the border even worse.
Yes, apparently, increased border security measures implemented early on during the pandemic by the Trump administration, which basically cut border crossings in half instantaneously, makes the problem worse. And Joe Biden wants you to believe that the removal of Title 42, which experts are predicting is going to double the number of illegal border crossings to nearly 5 million a year, and that's just apprehensions, not counting the gotaways. Well, Joe Biden wants you to believe that Title 42 is just making things worse. This guy is such a friggin' clown. And you see what I mean, just speaking in empty nonsense platitudes, basically saying nothing. To truly understand what's going on here, it's important to step back and see the bigger picture here.
And to truly understand what's happening there, it's important to step back and see the bigger picture here. You know, I know it's hard to see, but because our politics has been so divisive, you know it's getting much better, you've all observed, but it's been so darn divisive.
I know it's hard to see. Yes, Joe, it's real hard for us to see. We're just too stupid. We know smart like you. We need to take a step back and really understand the big picture here. Yeah, we understand the big picture and we have eyeballs so we can certainly see. The southern border crisis continues to rage on and get worse under your non-leadership.
Well, President Harris led this effort.
You know, I've been taking a step back and seeing the whole picture. And the one thing that I see is you're being dishonest. You've been being dishonest. You're clueless, and your track record on the border has been nothing but neglect of your responsibilities. Here's a macro level view for you, Joe. Here's me taking a step back and looking at the big picture. All of a sudden you want to pretend as if now the border's in crisis. Well, what about a little bit over a year ago when you claimed that the border was under control?
But in April alone, Mr. President, 170,000 people, migrants, apprehended at the border. It's a 20-year record. There are 22,000 unaccompanied children in our country right now. That's a record. That sounds to most folks like a crisis.
Well, look, it's way down now. We've now gotten control.
That was in April 2021. Well, once again, it shows you just how dishonest, just how much of a friggin' clown this guy is. Actually, here's Kamala Harris even more recently, back in September, claiming the border's secure.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
A bunch of friggin' clowns who have turned the White House. And speaking of this circus, here's Joe Biden claiming that Republicans who campaign on securing the border are extreme.
It's clear that immigration is a political issue that extreme Republicans are always going to run on.
Extreme Republicans, who believe in national sovereignty and border and safe communities. Oh, absolute crazy kooks. Don't worry, folks. Don't listen to those extreme MAGA Republicans, Joe Biden tells you. Listen to me. I'm the guy. I'm the expert. I'm going to handle this problem. With the Biden administration's newest tactic to solving the southern border crisis, an app.
First, if they're seeking asylum, they can use an app on their cell phone called CBP1, O-N-E, CBP1, O-N-E. That's to spell it out, not the number one. To schedule an appointment at a port of entry.
Well, there you have it. Illegal immigration BTFO'd. Just use the app on your cell phone to schedule an appointment to declare asylum. I mean, excuse my choice of words, but this is absolutely moronic. What does this even do? What does this serve? Very simply, nothing. How does this curb illegal immigration? If anything, this is more incentive. Hey folks, just cross over the border and then go on the app and schedule your appointment. Maybe you'll be granted asylum. Just join the lottery here, folks. Keep on coming. It's ridiculous. Getting an appointment or getting a court date to claim asylum in the United States has never been an issue. You know what the issue is? Coming illegally, getting that court date and then actually never showing up to that court date and just disappearing into the country, working in an underground economy, siphoning dollars from the American economy. This administration's not serious about securing the border. They're not serious about tackling the immigration issue at all and reforming the immigration system. They're just creating more incentive for more illegal immigration. Joe Biden's response to the illegal immigration crisis is removing Title 42 and making it easier for people to get an appointment to make an asylum claim. Asylum on demand. By the way, all of these programs, the processing of these illegal immigrations, and the creation of this technology, guess who's paying for it? You sucker. Taxpayers, of course, footing the bill for all of this nonsense. Everything this man says is absolute nonsense.
For example, since August of last year, Customs and Border Patrol have seized more than 20,000 pounds of deadly fentanyl. That's enough to kill as many as 1,000 people in this country. 20,000 pounds of fentanyl.
There's Joe Biden claiming that 20,000 pounds of fentanyl is enough to take the lives of as many as 1,000 people in the country. 20,000 pounds of fentanyl would take the lives of 4.5 billion people if a deadly dose was to be administered on a per-person basis. This guy is so clueless and out of his depth, but of course he doesn't care. He doesn't really care about the facts. Kamala Harris is no expert about the southern border. Actually, you know what? This will make my point. Adam Schiff was on ABC's The View the other day, where he claimed that Democrats and Biden have been working in good faith on the border.
The White House just announced that President Biden is going to visit the U.S.-Mexico border on Sunday, but with more than 2.76 million migrant crossings last year alone, do you think this should have been more of a priority for the Democrats?
I think it has been a very strong priority, and what we really need is a comprehensive approach to the border that is fair and humane and enforceable. And it's very hard to do that on a single-party basis. We really need to work together on this. We have come close at times, but at the moment it seems to be, again, the third rail of American politics. But I hope we can get the situation under control, and I think the administration is working in good faith.
Yes, working in good faith by continuing this Democrat vote-importing racket at the expense of the American people and the American economy. Yeah, real good faith. You know, calling Republicans who want to secure the border extreme. Real good faith. There's only one solution here, and if Democrats were acting in good faith, well then I think it'd be pretty simple to find some bipartisan consensus. Close the damn border and only accept legal migrants and asylum seekers through controlled legal immigration channels. People who cross over the border illegally should be arrested, their biometrics should be taken, and they should be deported back to the country from which they came. Very simply. And ICE should be emboldened to actually police communities and deport illegal migrants that are working illegally in mass. Enough playing games. If you don't have a legitimate asylum claim, or if you don't have a legitimate work visa or some other type of visa or sponsorship, a legitimate reason to immigrate, then you should be treated as a criminal, you broke the law, and you should be deported. Period. No emotional nonsense. The law is the law, and the law must be enforced. The border must be enforced. I know, a real novel concept, real crazy. That's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and of course I will see you on the next one.